This video was made for educational purposes only.
Hello, my fellow thrill seekers, and welcome back to Mostly Mysteries. In this enigmatic corner of the internet, we delve into the shadows, peel back the layers of secrecy, and explore the uncharted territories of existence. From ancient legends to chilling true stories, we're here to unravel the unknown and breathe life into the untold narratives that have haunted our collective imagination. So buckle up, because today we're diving headfirst into some of life's most mysterious urban legends. Those whispered in hushed tones, concealed in cryptic symbols, and hidden behind the veil of reality. So, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Well, before we go any further, grab your tinfoil hat, grab a snack, and dim the lights, because we're about to start the video. Number 8. Sesame seeds. In Korea, a land steeped in eerie legends, one tale stands out. It revolves around a young woman who frets about aging and the appearance of wrinkles. Desperate for youthful skin, she turns to an unconventional remedy: sesame seed therapy. The belief is that adding sesame seeds to her bathwater will keep her skin looking young. After soaking for a while, the woman's mother grows concerned when her daughter refuses to leave the tub. Repeated inquiries yield only the cryptic response, "Just a moment." When the mother finally breaks down the door, she is met with a horrifying sight. Her daughter, still submerged, frantically tries to extract sesame seeds from her skin. These tiny seeds have inexplicably attached themselves to her pores, sprouting roots. And how does she attempt to remove them? By delicately inserting a toothpick into her pores, trying to dislodge the stubborn seeds. Number 7. Wolves of Pavagada. In April 1983, Pavagada, a town in Karnataka, India, was gripped by a chilling mystery. It all began when a 5-year-old girl vanished without a trace. Villagers claimed to have witnessed a dog-like creature abducting the child. The unsettling events continued. 10 days later, another child disappeared, followed by more and more. The community held its breath as 5 children vanished in quick succession, only for the disappearances to abruptly halt for 2 months. Then, in July 1983, a 3-year-old girl disappeared from her room, which she shared with her mother. The next morning, villagers discovered blood and the girl's scattered clothing near the footprints of a large animal. Panic ensued, and the police were summoned. Rumors, fueled by the officers themselves, began to circulate. Stories of man-eating wolves preying on the children. Strikingly, all the missing children were girls, taken from their beds while sleeping near their parents. Whispers of black magic surfaced, centered around the nearby region of Madakshira, which separated Pavagada from the rest of Karnataka. Taxi drivers even refused to venture into Madakshira after dark. As the tally of vanished children reached 7, rumors of werewolves permeated every conversation. Despite searches yielding some human remains, the true cause of these tragic deaths remains shrouded in mystery. Number 6. The Black Ambulances. During the 1990s, unsettling rumors circulated about AIDS-infected needles deliberately left on cinema seats. These alarming whispers sent parents into panic mode, causing children to miss out on big-screen movie experiences. Meanwhile, in Romania, another health-related legend took hold, gripping both kids and parents alike. According to this eerie tale, a black ambulance prowled the streets, targeting solitary children. The occupants of this ominous vehicle allegedly abducted kids and harvested their organs for sale to wealthy buyers. The lifeless bodies would then be abandoned in fields, accompanied by a meager pile of money for funeral expenses. Sometimes, such legends trigger mass hysteria. In 2018, a Romanian writer embarked on a cost-cutting book tour around Bucharest in her customized van. Unexpectedly, she found herself surrounded by a fervent mob, convinced that she was the elusive driver of the mythical black ambulance. The crowd breached her van, rifling through her belongings. Shockingly, one person extinguished a cigarette on her cheek, while another brazenly stole the van's license plates. Fortunately, swift police intervention dispersed the chaotic scene, resulting in the detention of 3 individuals for violent behavior. Number 5. The choking Doberman. After a night out with friends, a young woman returns home to a horrifying scene. Her beloved Doberman lies on its side, struggling for breath. She rushes her pet to the emergency veterinary hospital, where she's informed that the necessary surgery might take hours. Advised to return home and wait for updates, she complies. As she arrives home for the second time that night, her phone rings urgently. The breathless voice on the other end belongs to the vet, who implores her to leave the house immediately. The obstruction in her dog's throat has been removed, revealing 3 severed human fingers. Shocked and alarmed, she hurries out. Later, it's revealed that a would-be burglar had broken in, only to be thwarted by the vigilant Doberman. The intruder was discovered unconscious in a closet, blood loss rendering them immobile. This tale echoes the enduring belief that our dogs will go to great lengths to protect us. Its origins trace back to the historic legend of Llywelyn the Great and his loyal dog, Gellert. In 1228, Llywelyn returned from a hunting trip to find his home in disarray. His infant son was missing, the crib overturned, and Gellert's snout smeared with blood. Convinced that Gellert had devoured the child, Llywelyn drew his sword and struck down the faithful dog. Only afterward did he hear his child's cries from beneath the crib, discovering the bloodied body of a wolf Gellert had slain while defending the baby. Number 4. The Disappearing Lady. At the cusp of the 20th century, a young woman and her mother embarked on a trip to Paris. As they arrived in the enchanting city of lights, the mother's health took a sudden downturn, leaving her bedridden and exhausted. The dutiful daughter wasted no time and summoned the house doctor. Speaking in rapid French to the hotel attendants, the doctor conveyed the gravity of the situation. The elderly woman urgently required specific medication. The catch? The necessary medicine could only be obtained from the doctor's private office, located across town. Undeterred, the daughter set off in the doctor's private carriage. However, the journey stretched far beyond what was reasonable. The driver seemed oddly unhurried, and hours dragged on before she returned to the hotel. Anxious, she inquired about her mother at the front desk, only to receive a bewildering response. "Your mother, mademoiselle? But you arrived alone." Panic surged through the young woman as she raced up the stairs to her mother's room. To her shock, strangers now occupied the space. The linens and drapes bore no resemblance to what she remembered. Desperate for answers, she sought out a French police officer. In hushed tones, he revealed the grim truth. Her mother had succumbed to the plague. The hotel, fearing widespread panic, had discreetly disposed of her body and concealed the tragic event. This haunting tale circulated among a handful of reporters across various late 1800s newspapers. When questioned about its authenticity years later, one journalist admitted uncertainty, whether the story had been recounted to him or if he had conjured it himself. Number 3. Killer Clowns. In the twilight of autumn, when leaves danced in crimson hues and the wind whispered secrets through the alleys, Chicago's children huddled together, their imaginations aflame. The year was 1991, a time when innocence still clung to the city's playgrounds, but shadows lurked in the corners. Homie the Clown, a name that would echo through generations, was no mere figment of fiction. No, he was a real-life embodiment of nightmares, a twisted reflection of Damon Wayans' comedic creation from In Living Color. But this homie was no slapstick performer. He was a predator, a phantom who prowled the streets in a white van, a vessel of malevolence. The children knew the rules: avoid the white van, shun the candy-bearing stranger, and never stray far from the safety of schoolyards. Reports flooded the police department and newsrooms alike. An African-American man, clad in a clown's garb, haunted the periphery of innocence. His painted grin concealed darker intentions, a siren call to unsuspecting souls. Media coverage swirled in contradictions, a dance of uncertainty. On October 9th, WFLD-TV declared that Homie was an urban legend, a mere whisper in the wind. But 2 days later, the venerable Chicago Tribune contradicted this, asserting that the police took reported clown sightings seriously. The city held its breath, torn between skepticism and primal fear. And so, Homie became a spectral enigma, an apparition glimpsed in schoolyards, near swing sets, and beneath the flickering streetlights. Children exchanged tales in hushed voices, their words laden with both dread and fascination. Was Homie a phantom conjured by collective fear, or did he truly stalk the city's shadows? The white van, its tires whispering secrets against the asphalt, became a symbol of terror. Parents clutched their children closer, casting wary glances at any passing clown. The circus, once a place of wonder, now harbored suspicion. And the candy? It transformed from sweet temptation to poisoned bait. As winter settled over Chicago, Homie's presence waned. Some whispered that he had never existed, that he was a cautionary tale spun from moonlight and hysteria. Others clung to their memories, their hearts still racing from imagined encounters. Had he vanished into the labyrinthine alleys, leaving only echoes? Perhaps Homie was more than flesh and bone. Perhaps he was the embodiment of primal fears, the darkness that lurked beyond the streetlights, the rustling of leaves that hinted at unseen horrors. And as the years passed, his legend blurred with other phantoms, the Slender Man, the black-eyed children, and the things that slithered in the fog. Number 2. Polybius. Picture the year 1981, a time when neon signs flickered and the world teetered on the brink of nuclear conflict. Amid the covert operations and clandestine maneuvers between the United States and the Soviet Union, a different kind of shadow emerged, one that would haunt the unsuspecting gamers of Portland. In the heart of the Rose City, where rain-soaked streets met the scent of coffee and pine, a new arcade game materialized. Its cabinet was unremarkable, a plain black box devoid of flashy graphics or enticing logos. But within its depths lay a puzzle, a series of geometric shapes and colors that beckoned players with an otherworldly allure. Polybius, as it came to be known, defied convention. It had no title screen, no high-score leaderboard, and no instructions. Yet, those who dared to play it found themselves ensnared. The lines at the arcade machines stretched like tendrils, weaving through the dimly lit room. Fights erupted over who would take the next turn, as if some unseen force drove the players to obsession. The game's mechanics were hypnotic. Its puzzles twisted the mind, tugging at the edges of reality. But it wasn't just the gameplay that left its mark. The men in black suits, silent observers, visited the arcade periodically. Their purpose? To collect data, perhaps, or to analyze the effects of Polybius on the unsuspecting minds of gamers. What they sought remained shrouded in secrecy. Players emerged from their Polybius-induced trances with tales of amnesia. Memories dissolved like sugar in rain, leaving only fragments, the taste of copper, the hum of unseen machinery, and the haunting shapes imprinted on their retinas. Some suffered seizures, their bodies convulsing as if touched by forbidden knowledge. Others grappled with insomnia, night terrors, and hallucinations, their minds unraveling like ancient scrolls. And then, there were the disappearances. 2 teenagers, bright-eyed souls who had dared to unlock Polybius's secrets, vanished without a trace. Their names whispered through the corridors of the arcade, their fate forever entwined with the enigmatic game. But they weren't alone. Witnesses stepped forward, claiming abduction by the men in black suits. Their stories echoed like ripples in a forgotten pond. Approximately 1 month after its arrival, Polybius vanished. The black cabinets retreated into the shadows, leaving behind empty spaces and unanswered questions. The company behind the game, Sinneslöschen, a name both cryptic and unsettling, remained elusive. Was it a front for government experiments? A clandestine branch of MK Ultra pushing the boundaries of human perception? Or something more insidious? The legend persisted. Online forums buzzed with speculation. A ROM image file surfaced, an alleged relic from the original Polybius machine. Gamers dissected its code, searching for hidden messages or glimpses of forbidden knowledge. The classical Greek historian Polybius, known for his insistence on eyewitness accounts, would have marveled at the irony, the game bearing his name, veiled in secrecy. Today, Polybius exists as a digital specter, an urban legend that refuses to fade. Number 1. Dog Boy. Dog Boy conjures images of cryptids, elusive creatures lurking in moonlit forests. Yet, Gerald Bettis was no mythical beast. Born in the mundane year of 1954, he entered the world as an unremarkable human child. His fate, however, would twist into something far more sinister. Gerald's nickname sprouted from the soil of cruelty. He harbored a dark penchant for collecting stray animals, hapless creatures that would soon become victims of his malevolence. The yowls emanating from the Bettis home would haunt the neighborhood, leaving neighbors trembling in their beds. Gerald's heart was a barren landscape. Even in his youth, he reveled in torment. His parents, once hopeful souls, became his first victims. As adolescence enveloped him, so did rage and physical enormity. At 6'4" and a staggering 300 pounds, he loomed over his elderly father like a storm cloud. The walls of their home absorbed the echoes of Gerald's wrath. His parents bore the brunt of his cruelty. Their frailty crumbled beneath his fists. His father met an untimely end, shrouded in mystery, a silent scream echoing through the corridors. And when his mother's hip shattered in a fall, the veil lifted. Aline Bettis, her suffering etched into her bones, was rescued by adult protective services. Gerald, the architect of their pain, faced a different fate. Today, the Bettis residence stands as a spectral relic, an edifice where malevolence seeped into the very bricks. The air quivers with unseen forces, fueled by the anguish of both human and animal victims. The house has passed through hands like a cursed artifact, each owner inheriting its legacy. Paranormal whispers cling to its walls, objects defy gravity, floating down the stairs as if guided by invisible hands. Lights flicker, an erratic dance between the corporeal and the ethereal. And then there's the apparition, the strange, large man who materializes within the house. His eyes hold secrets, and he cradles a cat, an innocent soul caught in the web of suffering. Is it Gerald himself, lingering beyond the veil? Does he wander the halls, seeking redemption or retribution? The answers elude us, lost in the fog of time. Perhaps the house is a vessel, a conduit for Gerald's malevolence, a beacon for restless spirits. Or maybe, just maybe, the dog boy's lament echoes through eternity, a warning to those who dare cross the threshold.